A recent study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine tracked over 1,700 adults aged 51 to 75 for more than a decade, and what they discovered about a simple 10-second balance test shocked even me as someone who reviews aging research daily. They found that adults who could not stand on one leg for 10 seconds had an 84% higher risk of death from any cause within the next 10 years. But here's what matters even more for your daily life. This same test predicts your likelihood of falling within the next 6 months with stunning accuracy. If you're over 60 and you believe walking is keeping you safe from falls, what I'm about to show you may actually reveal why walking alone is slowing your progress and leaving a critical gap in your stability that most seniors don't discover until after their first serious fall. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact single-leg stance test used in major aging research centers, show you what your score means, and then give you the 5 balance-building exercises that can restore your stability faster than walking ever could, even if you haven't exercised in years. But first, I need to know who I'm talking to today. Pause for just a second and drop a comment below. Tell me your age and what state or country you're watching from. This helps me understand my community better and create content that actually serves your needs.
Why this balance test matters more than walking. Now, before you think I'm telling you to stop walking, I'm not. Walking is excellent cardiovascular exercise. It keeps your heart healthy, maintains your endurance, and absolutely has a place in your routine. But here's what 30 years of aging research has shown us: walking primarily moves you in one direction, forward. It doesn't challenge your side-to-side stability. It doesn't force your body to recover from an unexpected shift in weight. And it certainly doesn't train the rapid muscle response you need when you step on an uneven surface or reach for something on a high shelf. Think about the last time you stumbled. Were you walking in a straight line on flat ground? Probably not. You were likely turning to grab something, stepping off a curb, carrying grocery bags, or moving around furniture. These are the moments when falls happen, and they require a completely different type of strength than walking provides. This is where the single-leg stance test becomes critical. This test was developed and validated across multiple major studies, including one that followed over 15,000 adults in countries ranging from the United States to Japan to Brazil. It's been repeated in at least 270 clinical trials because it does something remarkable. It measures your functional balance in a way that directly predicts real-world fall risk. Here's why that matters. When you stand on one leg, you're forcing your body to do several things simultaneously. Your hip stabilizers have to fire to keep your pelvis level. Your ankle has to make constant micro-adjustments to keep you upright. Your vestibular system, the balance center in your inner ear, has to communicate with your brain and muscles in real time. And your opposite leg has to remain controlled in the air, which requires core stability most people don't realize they've lost. All of this happens in seconds. And if any part of that system is weak, you'll wobble, grab for support, or put your foot down quickly. Now imagine that same scenario when you're carrying a bag of groceries and step off a curb. Or when you're reaching into a cabinet and shift your weight onto one leg without thinking about it. Or when you're walking across your living room at night and step on something unexpected. That's when the weakness shows up. And by then, it's often too late. The research is clear: adults over 60 who cannot hold a single-leg stance for at least 10 seconds are significantly more likely to experience a fall within the next 6 months. And falls at our age aren't just inconvenient, they're life-altering. According to the CDC, 1 out of every 4 adults over 65 falls each year. Of those who fall and fracture a hip, only 50% will ever regain their previous level of mobility. Many lose their independence entirely. But here's the hopeful part. And this is why I'm making this video. Your balance is trainable. It doesn't matter if you're 62 or 82. It doesn't matter if you haven't exercised in 10 years. Your nervous system and muscles can adapt remarkably quickly when you give them the right stimulus. But before we get to the exercises that will restore your balance, you need to understand what's actually happening inside your body after 60, and why the single-leg stance test reveals weaknesses you can't feel until it's too late. Let's talk about the science behind balance decline, and why it accelerates so dramatically in your 60s and beyond. The science behind balance decline after 60. So what exactly happens to your balance system after 60? And more importantly, why does it happen so much faster than most people realize? Let me break this down into 3 interconnected systems, and once you understand how they work together, you'll see why the single-leg stance test is such a powerful diagnostic tool. First, let's talk about your vestibular system. This is the balance control center located in your inner ear. It's made up of tiny fluid-filled canals and sensory hair cells that detect every movement your head makes, forward, backward, side to side, and rotational. Here's the problem: starting around age 40, you begin losing approximately 40% of these sensory hair cells per decade. By the time you're 70, you may have lost up to 60% of the cells that tell your brain where your body is in space. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that this vestibular decline is one of the primary reasons why older adults feel unsteady, especially in low-light conditions or when walking on uneven surfaces. Your brain simply isn't getting accurate information fast enough to make corrections. And when your vestibular system can't do its job, your body compensates by relying more heavily on vision and muscle strength, which brings us to the second system: your muscle fiber composition. After age 60, you lose muscle mass at a rate of about 3% per year if you're not actively resistance training. But it's not just the amount of muscle you lose, it's the type of muscle that matters most for balance. You have 2 types of muscle fibers: type 1, which are slow-twitch endurance fibers, and type 2, which are fast-twitch power fibers. The type 2 fibers are the ones that fire rapidly when you stumble, catching you before you fall. They're your body's emergency response system. Unfortunately, type 2 fibers decline twice as fast as type 1 fibers after 60. According to research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, sedentary adults over 65 can lose up to 50% of their fast-twitch muscle fibers compared to their younger selves. This is why you might feel strong enough to walk for an hour, but when you trip on a rug, your body doesn't react fast enough to catch yourself. The endurance is there, but the explosive, protective response is gone. Now here's where it gets even more complex. Your brain's ability to coordinate movement, what scientists call neuromuscular control, also declines with age. Think of your nervous system like an electrical network. When you're younger, the signals from your brain to your muscles travel quickly and clearly. But after 60, several things happen. The myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerves, begins to deteriorate. This slows down signal transmission speed by up to 10 to 15%, according to studies from the Mayo Clinic. The number of motor neurons, the nerve cells that control your muscles, decreases. Fewer neurons mean less precise control and slower reaction times. And perhaps most critically, the communication between your brain, your vestibular system, and your muscles becomes less efficient. Your brain has to work harder to interpret sensory information and send the right commands to keep you stable. This is why the single-leg stance test is so revealing. It doesn't just test muscle strength, it tests the entire integrated system: vestibular input, neuromuscular coordination, muscle response time, and core stability, all at once. When any part of that system is weak, the test exposes it immediately. Now, let me put this in perspective with a statistic that should make this very real for you. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among adults over 65. More than 36,000 older adults die from fall-related injuries every year in the United States alone. And for every person who dies from a fall, 20 more sustain serious injuries, hip fractures, head trauma, wrist fractures, that drastically reduce their quality of life. But here's what most people don't realize: the majority of these falls don't happen because someone tripped over something obvious. They happen during routine daily activities. Getting out of a chair, turning too quickly, stepping into the shower, reaching for an item on a shelf. These are moments that require split-second balance adjustments. And if your vestibular system is degraded, your fast-twitch muscle fibers are depleted, and your neuromuscular coordination is sluggish, your body simply cannot respond in time. That's the bad news. The good news, and this is backed by decades of research, is that every single one of these systems is trainable, even in your 70s and 80s. Studies from the American College of Sports Medicine have shown that targeted balance training can improve vestibular function, rebuild type 2 muscle fibers, and restore neuromuscular coordination in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. Your nervous system has what's called neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections and pathways at any age. Your muscles respond to progressive overload no matter how old you are. And your balance system, when challenged consistently, will adapt and strengthen. But it all starts with knowing where you stand, literally. So right now, we're going to perform the actual single-leg stance test together. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it safely, what your score means, and what it reveals about your current fall risk. Grab a chair or stand near a wall, because we're about to find out where your balance truly is. How to perform the single-leg balance test. Alright, let's do this test together. But before we start, I want to make something very clear: this is not a competition. This is a diagnostic tool. Your score today is simply information. It tells you where you are right now, not where you'll always be. And I want you to do this safely. So here's what I need you to do before we even begin. Step number 1, set up your safety zone. Stand next to a sturdy chair, a countertop, or a wall. Something you can reach out and touch immediately if you need support. Do not do this test in the middle of a room with nothing nearby. I don't care how confident you feel. Safety first, always. If you're watching this on your phone, prop it up somewhere so you can see the screen while you're standing. If you're on a computer, step back far enough that you can see the screen and still have your support nearby. Got it? Good. Step number 2, choose your test leg. Most people find one leg easier than the other. That's completely normal. For this first attempt, I want you to use whichever leg feels more stable. You can test both legs later, but for now, we're just trying to get your baseline score. If you have a leg injury, recent surgery, or significant pain in one leg, use the other leg. And if you have balance issues that make you uncomfortable even trying this test, that's okay. You can skip straight to the exercises, and we'll work on building your stability first. Step number 3, get into position. Stand up straight with your feet together. Let your arms hang naturally at your sides. You can hold them out slightly for balance if needed, but try not to windmill them. That's a sign you're compensating, and we want an accurate reading. Now, here's the actual test. Step number 4, lift one leg. Bend your knee and lift one foot off the ground, just a few inches is fine. You don't need to lift it high. Your knee should be bent at about 90 degrees, and your lifted foot should be behind you or beside your standing leg, whichever feels more natural. Keep your standing leg straight but not locked. A slight bend in the knee is fine. Step number 5, start your timer. As soon as your foot leaves the ground, start counting in your head: 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, or use a timer if you have one handy. The goal is to see how long you can hold this position without putting your lifted foot back down, grabbing onto your support, hopping or shifting your standing foot, letting your lifted leg touch your standing leg for support. The moment any of those things happen, your time stops. That's your score. Now, I'm going to give you a moment to try this. Pause the video if you need to, get into position, and do the test. Then come right back, and I'll tell you what your score means. Go ahead. I'll wait. Welcome back. So, what was your time? Let me break down what your score reveals about your current balance and fall risk. And remember, this is not a judgment, it's just data that helps us know where to focus your training. If you scored under 5 seconds, this indicates a high fall risk. Your balance system, whether it's vestibular decline, muscle weakness, or neuromuscular coordination, needs immediate attention. But here's the important part. This is exactly where targeted balance training has the biggest impact. You have the most room for improvement, And the exercises I'm about to show you can make a dramatic difference in just a few weeks. If you scored between 5 and 10 seconds, this puts you in a moderate risk category. You have some balance capacity, but it's not where it needs to be for daily safety. You're likely compensating in ways you don't realize. Maybe you're holding on to things more often, or you're more cautious on stairs. The good news is that you have a foundation to build on, and consistent practice will move you into the safe zone quickly. If you scored between 10 and 20 seconds, this is average for adults over 60, but average doesn't mean optimal. You're functional, but you're not fall-proof. Unexpected situations, slippery floors, uneven ground, carrying heavy items, could still challenge your system. Think of this as maintenance territory. You want to push past average and into excellent. If you scored 20 seconds or more, excellent work. Your balance system is functioning well for your age. You likely have a history of staying active, doing some form of strength training, or naturally good stability. But even at this level, continued training will help you maintain this capacity as you age and prevent future decline. Now, here's why this test is superior to almost any other balance assessment. Most balance tests used in clinical settings, like the Berg Balance Scale or the Timed Up and Go test, require equipment, space, or a trained professional to administer. The single leg stance test requires nothing but your body and 10 seconds of time. More importantly, it's been validated across multiple populations and age groups worldwide. Research from the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology showed that this test correlates strongly with mortality risk, falls risk, and overall functional independence. It's simple, but it's scientifically backed. And here's the best part: when you retest yourself in 4 to 6 weeks after doing the exercises I'm about to show you, you'll see measurable improvement. You'll have proof that your nervous system, your muscles, and your balance are adapting. But here's what you need to understand. The test itself doesn't fix anything. It's a diagnostic tool. The real work comes next. So if your score wasn't what you hoped for, if you wobbled after 3 seconds, or if you had to grab the wall immediately, I don't want you to feel discouraged. I want you to feel motivated. Because in the next section, I'm going to give you the exact 5 balance-building exercises that have been proven in clinical research to restore stability faster than any other method. These aren't random movements I pulled from a fitness magazine. These are evidence-based, progression-focused exercises that target every system we talked about earlier: vestibular function, muscle fiber recruitment, and neuromuscular coordination. And I'm going to present them in countdown format, saving the most powerful exercise for number 1, so you understand exactly why each one matters and how they build on each other. Let's get started with exercise number 5. The 5 balance building exercises. Exercise number 5, Tandem Stance. The first exercise we're starting with is called the Tandem Stance, and if you've ever watched a sobriety test on a police show, you've seen this movement before. But what most people don't realize is that this is one of the most effective neurological balance trainers for adults over 60. Here's why it works. When you stand with one foot directly in front of the other, heel to toe, you drastically reduce your base of support. Your body suddenly has to recruit stabilizer muscles in your hips, ankles, and core that don't activate during normal standing or walking. More importantly, your vestibular system, that inner ear balance center we talked about, has to work overtime to keep you upright. This is exactly the kind of challenge your nervous system needs to rebuild the neuromuscular pathways that decline with age. Here's how to perform it safely. Stand next to your chair or wall, keep that support close. Start with your feet together, then step one foot directly in front of the other so that the heel of your front foot touches the toes of your back foot. You should be in a straight line, like you're standing on a tightrope. Now, here's the key: don't hold your breath. Keep breathing naturally. Let your arms hang at your sides or hold them out slightly for balance, whatever feels most stable. Your goal is to hold this position for 30 seconds. If you can't make it to 30 seconds yet, that's completely fine. Hold it for as long as you can without grabbing the support, then note your time. That's your starting point. If this feels too easy, if you can hold it for 30 seconds without any wobbling, then close your eyes. Removing visual input forces your vestibular system and proprioception, your body's spatial awareness, to do all the work. This is advanced, so only try it if the basic version feels stable. If this feels too challenging, modify it. Instead of placing your heel directly against your toes, leave a few inches of space between your feet. You'll still get the benefit of the narrowed base of support without the full difficulty. Do this exercise twice on each side, front foot forward, then switch. Why this matters for your daily life. Every time you walk through a narrow hallway, navigate between furniture, or step onto a curb, your body has to adjust to a reduced base of support. Tandem stance trains exactly that skill. It also activates the small stabilizer muscles in your ankles that prevent you from rolling your foot when you step on something uneven. Research from the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that seniors who practiced tandem stance exercises 3 times per week for 6 weeks improved their functional balance scores by 23%. That's measurable, real-world improvement. Now let's move to exercise number 4. And this one introduces movement, which takes the challenge up a level. Exercise number 4, single leg weight shifts. If the tandem stance was about holding a stable position, single leg weight shifts are about controlled movement, which is where most falls actually happen. You don't fall standing still. You fall when you're transitioning from one position to another. This exercise teaches your body how to shift weight onto one leg smoothly and safely, which is something you do dozens of times every day without even thinking about it. Getting out of a chair. Climbing stairs. Stepping over an object. Reaching for something on a shelf. All of these require you to momentarily balance on one leg while your other leg moves. Here's how to do it. Stand next to your support with your feet hip-width apart. Shift your weight onto your right leg, allowing your left foot to stay lightly on the ground but with no weight on it. You should feel about 90% of your body weight on your right leg. Hold that position for 5 seconds, then slowly shift your weight back to center, so both feet are evenly loaded. Pause for a breath, then shift your weight onto your left leg, letting your right foot stay lightly grounded with no pressure. Go back and forth, right leg, center, left leg, center. For 10 total repetitions. That's 5 on each side. The key here is control. Don't rush the shift. Don't bounce from side to side. Make it slow, deliberate, and smooth. That slow tempo is what forces your stabilizer muscles to fire and your nervous system to stay engaged. If this feels too easy, lift the unweighted foot slightly off the ground, just an inch or two. Now you're fully on one leg during the shift. That takes it from a weight shift to a true single leg balance hold, which dramatically increases the difficulty. If it's too challenging, keep both feet on the ground but focus on feeling the weight transfer. You'll still get neuromuscular benefit from the controlled shifting, even if you're not fully balancing yet. Why this builds fall prevention. Think about what happens when you step off a curb or reach into a cabinet. You shift your weight onto one leg without consciously thinking about it. If your hip stabilizers and ankle muscles aren't strong enough to control that shift, you wobble, you grab for support, or worse, you fall. This exercise trains exactly that movement pattern in a controlled, safe environment. You're teaching your body to handle weight transitions smoothly, which translates directly into fewer stumbles and quicker recoveries when something unexpected happens. A study published in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that dynamic weight-shifting exercises reduced fall incidence in seniors by 31% over a 6-month period. That's not a small number, that's real protection. Now let's move to exercise number 3, which targets a part of your body that most people completely overlook when it comes to balance. Exercise number 3, controlled heel raises. Your ankles are the foundation of your balance system. And I don't mean that metaphorically, I mean it literally. Every micro-adjustment your body makes to keep you upright starts at your ankles. When you stand still, your ankles are constantly making tiny corrections, shifting forward, backward, side to keep your center of gravity over your base of support. When those ankle muscles weaken, your body loses its first line of defense against instability. This is why ankle strength is so critical for fall prevention. And why controlled heel raises are exercise number 3. Here's how to perform them. Stand facing your chair or countertop with your hands resting lightly on the surface for support. Your feet should be hip-width apart, toes pointing forward. Now, slowly rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as you comfortably can. Hold that top position for 2 seconds, don't bounce, just hold, then slowly lower your heels back down to the floor with control. That's 1 repetition. I want you to do 12 to 15 repetitions, and here's the critical part, the lowering phase should take 3 to 4 seconds. Slow and controlled. Why the slow tempo matters. When you move slowly, you increase what's called time under tension, the amount of time your muscles are actively working. This is one of the most effective ways to build strength in older adults because it doesn't require heavy weights or high impact. You're using your own body weight and gravity as resistance. Research from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research shows that slow, controlled movements activate more type 2 muscle fibers, those fast twitch fibers we talked about earlier that you need for quick reactions. By lowering slowly, you're not just building strength, you're rebuilding the muscle fibers that prevent falls. If this feels too easy, try this progression, do the exercise with only one hand on your support, then eventually with no hands at all. You can also try single leg heel raises, lift one foot off the ground and perform the heel raise on just one leg. That's significantly harder and should only be attempted once you've mastered the basic version. If it's too challenging, use both hands on your support and don't rise up as high. Even a small range of motion will activate the muscles and start building strength. Why this protects you in daily life. When you step on something unexpected, a rock, a toy, an uneven surface, your ankle has to react instantly to stabilize your foot and prevent a roll or twist. If your ankle muscles are weak, they can't do that job fast enough, and that's when sprains, trips, and falls happen. Heel raises also improve your calf muscle strength, which is essential for walking, climbing stairs, and standing from a seated position. Weak calves make every one of those activities harder and more dangerous. A clinical trial from the American Journal of Physical Medicine found that seniors who performed heel raises 3 times per week for 8 weeks reduced their fall risk by 19% and increased their walking speed by 12%. Stronger ankles mean safer movement, period. Alright, we're getting into the top 2 exercises now, and these are where the real neurological and functional magic happens. Exercise number 2 is going to activate your brain in a way that most balance exercises completely ignore. Exercise number 2, cross-lateral reaches. Here's something most people don't know about balance. It's not just a physical skill, it's a brain skill. Your left brain controls the right side of your body, and your right brain controls the left side of your body. When you perform movements that cross the midline of your body, meaning your right hand reaches toward your left side or vice versa, you force both hemispheres of your brain to communicate and coordinate in real time. This is called cross-lateral integration, and it's one of the most powerful ways to improve neuromuscular control and prevent falls. That's what exercise number 2 does, and it's called the cross-lateral reach. Here's how to perform it. Stand next to your support with your feet hip-width apart. Shift your weight onto your right leg and lift your left foot slightly off the ground, just a few inches. Now, take your right hand and slowly reach across your body towards your left side, as if you're reaching for something on a shelf to your left. Reach as far as you comfortably can while staying balanced on your right leg, then return your hand to your side. That's 1 repetition. Do 8 repetitions on this side, then switch, stand on your left leg, lift your right foot, and reach across with your left hand toward your right side. Do 8 repetitions. The key details. Move slowly and deliberately. This isn't about speed, it's about control and coordination. Your brain has to manage 3 things simultaneously, keeping you balanced on one leg, coordinating the reaching motion, and processing the cross-body movement. If this feels too challenging, keep your lifted foot lightly touching the ground instead of fully lifting it. You'll still get the cross-lateral brain benefit even if you're not fully balancing yet. If it feels too easy, reach further, or hold a light object in your hand. A water bottle, a small weight, even a book. The added weight increases the challenge for both your balance and your brain. Why this exercise is so neurologically powerful. Most balance exercises work in a single plane, forward and backward, or side to side. But real life doesn't work that way. You're constantly moving in multiple directions at once. You're turning, reaching, bending, and shifting all at the same time. Cross-lateral movements train your brain to handle complexity. They activate the corpus callosum, the bridge between your brain's two hemispheres, and improve what's called interhemispheric communication. This is the same type of training used in stroke rehabilitation and neurological recovery programs. Research from the Journal of Neurophysiology found that cross-body movements significantly improved balance and coordination in older adults by enhancing brain plasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural connections. Your brain adapts at any age, and this exercise proves it. How this protects you in real life. Think about the last time you reached for something while standing on one leg, maybe reaching into a high cabinet while standing on your toes, or bending down to pick something up off the floor. Those movements require your brain to coordinate balance, reach, and stability all at once. If your brain isn't trained to handle that complexity, your balance fails and you stumble. Cross-lateral reaches train exactly that multidirectional, multitasking balance control. Now we're at the number one most powerful balance building exercise, and this is where everything we've done so far comes together into one comprehensive movement. Exercise number 1, dynamic single leg holds. This is it. This is the exercise that combines everything: vestibular challenge, muscle activation, neuromuscular coordination, and dynamic stability, into one movement. It's called the dynamic single leg hold, and here's why it's number 1. Static balance, just standing on one leg, is important. But dynamic balance, standing on one leg while moving another part of your body, is what actually prevents falls in real life. When you trip, you don't just stand still. Your arms swing, your torso rotates, your opposite leg moves to catch you. That's dynamic stability, and it's the most trainable, most protective form of balance you can develop. Here's how to perform it. Stand next to your support with your feet hip-width apart. Shift your weight onto your right leg and lift your left foot off the ground. Now, instead of just holding still, you're going to move your lifted leg in controlled patterns. Pattern number 1, swing your lifted leg forward and backward in a slow, controlled motion, like a pendulum. Do 8 swings. Pattern number 2, swing your lifted leg side to side, across your body and back out. Do 8 swings. Pattern number 3. Make small circles with your lifted foot, 8 circles in one direction, then 8 circles in the opposite direction. Then switch legs and repeat all 3 patterns on the other side. The critical details. Every movement should be slow and controlled. If you're swinging your leg so fast that you're losing balance, you're going too fast. The goal is to maintain stability on your standing leg while your moving leg creates instability. That's the challenge. Your standing leg should stay as still as possible, no hopping, no shifting. All the movement comes from your hip joint on the lifted leg. If this is too challenging, hold on to your support with both hands and reduce the range of motion. Even small movements will activate your stabilizers. If it's too easy, let go of your support and try it with no hands. Or close your eyes during the movements. That's advanced, but it eliminates visual input and forces your vestibular system to do all the work. Why this is the most powerful balance exercise. Dynamic single leg holds train every component we've discussed. Vestibular system, your inner ear has to constantly adjust to the changing position of your lifted leg. Muscle activation, your standing leg's glutes, hip stabilizers, and ankle muscles fire continuously to keep you stable. Neuromuscular coordination, Your brain has to process the dynamic movement and send corrective signals to your standing leg in real time. Core stability. Your abdominal and back muscles engage to keep your torso steady while your leg moves. This is as close as you can get to replicating the unpredictable balance challenges you face in real life, and that's why it's so effective. A study from the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy found that seniors who performed dynamic balance exercises like this 3 times per week for 6 weeks improved their balance confidence by 34% and reduced their fear of falling by 41%. That's not just physical improvement, that's psychological freedom. When you're not afraid of falling, you move more. You stay active. You maintain your independence. And that's the entire goal. Alright, you now have all 5 exercises. But knowing the exercises isn't enough, you need a plan. You need to know how often to do them, how to progress, and what results to expect. That's what we're covering next, your complete 4-week balance restoration protocol. Your 4-week balance restoration protocol. So you have the 5 exercises. Now let's talk about how to use them, because doing random balance work a few times a week isn't going to give you the results you need. You need structure. You need progression. You need a plan that your body can adapt to safely and effectively. This is your 4-week balance restoration protocol. And if you follow it consistently, you will see measurable improvement in your balance, your confidence, and your fall risk by the end of week 4. Week 1, Foundation Phase. This is where you're teaching your body the movement patterns and establishing your baseline. You're not trying to set records, you're building familiarity and confidence. Frequency, 4 to 5 days this week. Not every single day, your nervous system needs recovery time just like your muscles do. Exercise selection. Do all 5 exercises every session, in the order I gave them to you: tandem stance, single leg weight shifts, controlled heel raises, cross-lateral reaches, and dynamic single leg holds. Intensity, use your support whenever you need it. If you can only hold a single leg position for 5 seconds, that's fine. If you need to keep one hand on the wall the entire time, that's fine. The goal this week is consistency and form, not performance. Time commitment, 8 to 10 minutes per session. That's it. You don't need an hour. You don't need complicated equipment. Just 8 to 10 minutes of focused, deliberate practice. What to expect: you'll feel wobbly. You'll feel frustrated at times. You might feel muscles working that you didn't even know you had, especially in your hips, ankles, and core. That's normal. That's your body waking up systems that have been dormant. By the end of week 1, the exercises should start to feel more familiar. Your body will begin to understand what's being asked of it. Week 2, Building Phase. Now we start increasing the challenge, not dramatically, but progressively. This is where adaptation really begins. Frequency, 5 days this week. Your body is ready for more consistent stimulus. Exercise selection, same 5 exercises, same order. Intensity, this is where you start reducing your reliance on support. If you were holding the wall with both hands last week, try using just one hand this week. If you were using one hand, try just fingertip contact. If you were using fingertips, try letting go for a few seconds at a time. Also, start increasing your hold times. If you could hold a single leg stance for 10 seconds last week, aim for 15 seconds this week. If you could do 8 reps of an exercise, aim for 10 or 12. Time commitment, 10 to 12 minutes per session. The exercises themselves don't take longer. You're just spending a bit more time on each one because you're holding positions longer and doing more repetitions. What to expect: this is where you'll start to notice real improvements. You'll catch yourself using less support than you plan to. You'll realize you're not grabbing the wall as often. You might notice that standing on one leg to put your shoes on feels easier, or that you're more confident walking on uneven ground. These are the small wins that prove your nervous system is adapting. Pay attention to them, they're evidence that this is working. Week 3, Strengthening Phase. By week 3, your body has learned the patterns. Now we're building strength, endurance, and resilience. Frequency, 5 days this week. Exercise selection, same 5 exercises, but now you're adding progressions. For tandem stance, try closing your eyes if you can hold the basic version for 30 seconds. For controlled heel raises, attempt single leg raises or remove your hands from the support. For dynamic single leg holds, increase your range of motion, swing your leg further, make bigger circles. Intensity, you should be using minimal to no support by now on the easier exercises. Your goal is to challenge yourself just beyond your current comfort level, not so much that you're unsafe, but enough that your body has to work. Time commitment, 12 to 15 minutes per session. You're doing more advanced versions of the exercises, which naturally take a bit more time and focus. What to expect? This is the week where you might plateau slightly. Your body is working hard to adapt to the increased challenge, and sometimes progress feels slower. That's completely normal. Don't get discouraged. This is where most people quit, right before the breakthrough happens. Stick with it. Your neuromuscular system is rebuilding itself at a cellular level. That takes time. Week 4. Maintenance phase. This is the week where everything comes together. You're no longer learning, you're performing. Frequency, 4 to 5 days this week. Exercise selection, same 5 exercises with all the progressions you've built up to. This week is about consistency and confidence. Intensity, you should be able to perform most of these exercises with little to no support. You should notice that movements that felt shaky 3 weeks ago now feel controlled and stable. Time commitment. 12 to 15 minutes per session. What to expect? At the end of this week, ideally on day 28 or 29, you're going to retest yourself on the single leg stance test. This is your moment to see objective proof of your progress. Don't be surprised if you've improved your time by 5, 10, even 15 seconds. I've seen people go from 3 seconds to 18 seconds in 4 weeks. It's not magic, it's neuroplasticity, muscle adaptation, and consistent effort. Beyond week 4, long-term maintenance. Once you complete the 4-week protocol, balance training doesn't stop, it becomes part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth. Here's your long-term plan. Continue the protocol 3 to 4 days per week to maintain the gains you've made. If you stop entirely, your body will slowly lose the adaptations. But if you keep practicing, even just 3 times a week, you'll maintain and even continue to improve. Retest yourself every 4 to 6 weeks. The single leg stance test should become your regular check-in. If your time starts to decline, that's a signal to increase your training frequency or add more challenge. Add real-world balance challenges. Walk on uneven surfaces like grass or gravel. Practice standing on one leg while brushing your teeth or washing dishes. Turn your daily activities into balance training opportunities. Expected results timeline. Let me be very clear about what you can realistically expect. After 1 week. Increased body awareness. You'll feel muscles activating that haven't worked in years. After 2 weeks, improved confidence. You'll notice you're steadier during daily activities. After 4 weeks, measurable improvement on the single leg stance test, typically 5 to 15 seconds of increased hold time. Reduced fear of falling. Better stability on stairs, curbs, and uneven ground. After 8 to 12 weeks, significant functional improvements. Research shows that seniors who maintain balance training for 8 to 12 weeks experience a 30 to 40% reduction in fall risk and a 25% improvement in walking speed and confidence. Time efficiency, this is critical, you're spending 8 to 15 minutes per day, 4 to 5 days per week. That's less than 90 minutes per week total. Compare that to the hours most people spend walking, and you're getting superior balance results in a fraction of the time. This isn't about replacing walking. It's about adding the missing piece that walking can't provide. Now, I know some of you are thinking, this sounds great, but will I actually stick with it? And that's a fair question. Most exercise programs fail not because they don't work, but because people don't continue them. So let me give you the mindset shift that will make this sustainable. You're not doing this to impress anyone. You're not doing this to look a certain way. You're doing this so that 5 years from now, you're still walking confidently, still living independently, still doing the things you love without fear. This is about your future self, and every single session you complete is an investment in that person. So let's bring this home with a final message about what's truly at stake here, and why starting today, right now, is the most important decision you can make. Let me paint 2 pictures for you. Picture number 1. You're 75 years old. You wake up in the morning and swing your legs out of bed without hesitation. You stand up, walk to the bathroom, and move through your morning routine with confidence. You don't think about falling. You don't grab the counter for support. You don't avoid going places because you're worried about uneven ground or stairs. You go to the grocery store and carry your bags to the car without fear. You visit your grandchildren and get down on the floor to play with them, and you stand back up without needing help. You take walks in your neighborhood, you travel, you live fully. You're walking strong at 80, hiking at 82, and still independent at 85. Not because you got lucky. Not because you have special genetics. But because you made a decision years earlier to prioritize your balance, your strength, and your functional fitness. Picture number 2. You're 70 years old. You had a fall 2 years ago, nothing catastrophic, just a stumble on the sidewalk, but ever since then, you've been cautious. You hold on to furniture when you walk through your house. You avoid going out on days when the ground might be wet. You stop doing certain activities because they feel too risky. Your world has gotten smaller. You've started relying on other people more. You feel like you're losing your independence piece by piece, and you don't know how to stop it. This isn't a scare tactic. This is reality for millions of seniors who didn't realize that balance is trainable, or who realized it too late. So here's my question for you: which picture do you want to be? Because the difference between those 2 futures isn't luck. It's not genetics. It's not even age. The difference is whether or not you take action today. Here's what we covered in this video. We talked about the single leg stance test. A simple, scientifically validated assessment that predicts your fall risk in the next 6 months with remarkable accuracy. We broke down the 3 systems that control your balance: your vestibular system, your muscle fiber composition, and your neuromuscular coordination, and why all 3 decline after 60 if you don't actively train them. We walked through the test itself, and you now know where your balance currently stands. And most importantly, I gave you the exact 5 balance-building exercises that research has proven can restore your stability in as little as 4 weeks: tandem stance, single-leg weight shifts, controlled heel raises, cross-lateral reaches, and dynamic single-leg holds. You have the protocol. You have the timeline. You have the knowledge. Now it comes down to one thing: will you do it? Here's what I want you to understand, and this is the most important part of this entire video. Your body is not done adapting. Your nervous system is not too old to change. Your muscles are not too weak to rebuild. At 62, at 72, at 82, your body still responds to stimulus. Your brain still forms new neural pathways. Your balance system still improves when challenged consistently. Science has proven this over and over again. Thousands of studies. Tens of thousands of participants. The evidence is overwhelming. It is never too late to improve your balance and reduce your fall risk. But you have to start. And starting doesn't mean waiting until Monday. It doesn't mean waiting until you feel ready. It means today. Right now. This afternoon, when you're standing in your kitchen or brushing your teeth or waiting for the coffee to brew, stand on one leg for 10 seconds. That's it. That's the start. Do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the day after that. Add the exercises. Follow the protocol. Give your body 4 weeks of consistent effort, and watch what happens. Now, before you go, I need you to do two things for me. First, if you found this video helpful, if you learned something, if it gave you hope, if it made you think differently about your balance and your future, hit that subscribe button below. I create evidence-based content like this every single week to help seniors and mature adults stay strong, stay independent, and avoid preventable health problems. I don't do hype. I don't do trends. I do science-backed protocols that actually work. And if that's the kind of content you want more of, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Second, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what daily activity has become harder for you over the past few years? Is it getting out of a chair? Climbing stairs? Walking on uneven ground? Reaching for things on high shelves? Carrying groceries? Tell me what you're struggling with, because that helps me understand what content to create next. It helps me know what problems you need solved. And honestly, it helps build a community of people who are going through the same challenges and supporting each other along the way. So take 10 seconds right now, comment your age, where you're watching from, and what activity you want to improve. I read every single comment, and I respond to as many as I can. Here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway. Falls are one of the leading causes of loss of independence in older adults. But they are also one of the most preventable. You have more control over this than you think. Your balance is not a fixed trait, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained, improved, and maintained. But it requires action. It requires consistency. It requires you to believe that you're worth the effort. And you are. You're worth 10 minutes a day. You're worth the discomfort of trying something new. You're worth the investment in your future self. So start where you are. Don't compare yourself to where you used to be or where you think you should be. Just start. Stand on one leg today. Do the exercises tomorrow. Follow the protocol this week. Retest yourself in 4 weeks. And watch your body prove to you that it's still capable of change. Because it is. It's never too late. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay balanced, and I'll see you in the next video.